Right, let's bring you up to speed on this. Africa's agricultural future. It's taking center stage this week as leaders, experts, and policymakers gather for the 21st Comprehensive Africa Agriculture Development Program Partnership Platform, known as CAADP PP, alongside the 16th Africa Day for Food and Nutrition Security Day. The joint event brings together key players from across the continent to reflect on progress and challenges in achieving food security, agricultural transformation, and resilient food systems. Under the African Union's flagship CAADP framework, the discussions aim to strengthen collaboration, boost investment in agriculture, and to speak more about it, Chikondi Chabvuta Mkawa, Chairperson of the CAADP Non-State Actors, joins us now. Very good evening, Chair. Thank you so much for speaking to us.
Good evening, and it's an honor to join you live from Kigali.
So just tell us about the strategic importance of the CAADP Partnership Platform and what this year's gathering aims to achieve.
Thank you. So the CAADP Partnership Platform brings together different actors that are transforming food systems, whether it be from policy, the private sector, but also as non-state actors working together to achieve a transformation. So every year we gather to learn from each other, but to also see how we can shape policy. This year is quite important because we are ending the 10-year Malabo era, and from January we're starting the Kampala era of the food systems transformation for the continent. This year is also very important as we will be learning from each other on what went well in the last 10 years and what can we take to ensure that the dream that was had in 2004 to have an Africa that is self-sufficient, an Africa that feeds itself, and an Africa that is growing its GDP from agriculture becomes a reality.
And what were the objectives of the Malabo Declaration, and which, as you say, is now leading into the Kampala mandate?
So within the Malabo, one of the key things was the investment of the national GDP into agriculture. So it was 10% of your national budget had to go towards financing agriculture interventions. That was key, apart from other areas such as investment in climate, investment in trade between countries, but also accountability and other areas that we saw grow the continent's food basket. For Kampala, what comes as different is we still have that investment of 10% into agriculture, but it's now layered with more inclusivity, more governance around it, but also ensuring that everyone is playing a key role from members of parliament, from the non-state actors, but also seeing how governments are not working just in silos. So this time we're saying food systems. So it's no longer a mandate of just the Ministry of Agriculture, but every player within the food chain takes a key role in transforming how at national level food is made available, food is traded, but also food becomes the source of income for our nations.
And just how far are we from the 2030 goals on SDG 2? Africa as a whole, that is?
As it stands, we are still a long way. We have seen rising numbers of food insecure people, especially with the climatic impacts that are coming in. But the beauty of the Kampala Declaration is there is a specific objectives that looks at how we can do agriculture in the era of changing climate. So how do we deliver more productivity with the changing environment from all aspects that ensure food becomes available, food is traded, and then also there is enough that Africa can feed its people, but also feed others around it.
And then just tell us then, what are, you mentioned climatic conditions and challenges, what are some of the main drivers of food insecurity in Africa? And obviously there must be a difference in country context. are there hotspot areas that we're particularly concerned about as a continent within the AU framework?
Yeah, so apart from the climatic impacts, we also have conflict that has an impact on how food is made available for a majority of the continent. And then we also look at issues of the soil health. Most of the soils are being degraded either through the use of fertilizers that's low in most cases, or use of a lot of fertilizers that are damaging the soils. So having that safe balance between the two. But also in most cases, and we have seen this especially after COVID, there has been rising costs of food inputs, from seed availability, also other inputs that ensure that there's food available. Then we have also seen a lot of attention in most cases for maybe just crops and not enough going to livestock or the fisheries. And that's why even at this year's CAADP PP, there is a focus on blue foods, on how we can boost aquaculture and fisheries apart from livestock, to receive the same attention just like crops do at the continental and national level. So there are different barriers depending on context and on country, but majority we have seen that we have these good policies that are developed, less that goes in terms of implementation, less attention is put to prioritize these great commitments that have been made by the heads of state. And that's why as non-state actors, our role comes in to ensure accountability. What is committed, if it is fully implemented, we would see an Africa that achieves this dream. But more and more, we have these commitments made, but less action that takes place to ensure their full realization. So that, for me, is one of the biggest blows that we have seen within the Malabo era. And we are hoping that with Kampala, with that specificity of inclusivity, ensuring no one is left behind, we should see an Africa that lives to what it signs on to.
And just a final question on what are the green shoots of, what we'd have seen with the implementation of the Malabo Convention that you're hoping to, really double down on with the Kampala Declaration?
So what we are hoping to achieve this time is, as we have said, this time we are looking at food systems. So the food systems angle expects all of us to work together. So it's no longer a siloed approach. It's no longer something you leave up to just one minister. There's going to be one, of course, person in charge, but everybody has to play a role. We have seen that if we do this time around within the Kampala era, where all ministries are taking part, when it comes to even financing at the legislative level, we have that budgetary allocation showing the prioritization that goes towards the CAADP implementation. Every 2 years, there's a biannual review process that shows how countries are faring in terms of the commitments that they have made. And this time, that process will still be there. And we are going to go in as non-state actors, ensuring that the recommendations that come from this accountability framework don't just come as reports, but they are forming how national budgets are formed, they are forming how we prioritize, and they are informing the whole financial management system from that food systems lens. Because only when we work together, that's when we can achieve the change. But also the aspect of siloing food into just one key ministry or one department is what has led to a lot of aspects failing. So we need to really work together and find a dialogue spot where everyone is taking their active role.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. Chikondi Chabvuta Mkawa speaking to us about food security and what the AU is trying to do through various partnerships. It brings the time to 14 minutes to 10.